Hey you guys, so in today's video we are talking all about macros and 3 mistakes that you might be making if you are new to tracking your macros, or maybe you're not new to tracking your macros and you're making these mistakes. The reason why I wanted to make this video was because a lot of our new clients kind of struggle with tracking macros initially, and when you're struggling with something and something is brand new to you and it's very overwhelming, it can be really easy to quit or think that it's not the right method for you, when in reality, if you have the right guidance and go about it the right way, it can be a lot easier than you think, and if you stick with it, it will get easier. So if that's you, or maybe that was you in the past and you're kind of like, macros just wasn't for me, it was too stressful, it was too much, remind yourself that all new things are hard. When you're learning to ride a bicycle, or when you're learning something new at work or in school, obviously it's going to be a little bit hard at first, but there are ways to break down everything until it's a little bit easier, and you can work your way back up until it becomes something that's just more natural to you. So let's just hop right in. I'm not wasting any time in this video. The first mistake I see far too often is people are just not weighing out their food. And I know it's kind of daunting and it can kind of be like, I really don't want to weigh out everything I eat all day, but it can be a really educational tool as far as teaching you proper portion sizes and just educating you on the foods that you are eating. So as humans, we are prone to error, and when you are just estimating what you're eating based off of like what a serving size on the package says, or just what you've known from forever, chances are you're probably not going to be as accurate as the actual serving size or as somebody who's weighing their food. So even if you don't want to weigh your food for weeks or months or like forever, that's totally fine. It's not something that has to be long term, but I highly recommend you at least start using a food scale and weighing your food out, just to teach yourself proper portion sizes of the foods that you like to eat on a regular basis. You can get a really cheap food scale on Amazon, prime that ish over. It'll be here in a couple of days, or just go to your local grocery store, Target, Walmart, they're everywhere, and just start weighing what you're eating, paying attention to what a true portion size looks like, and kind of just use that as a little game throughout the day to see, okay, so I logged 4 ounces of chicken, this is what 4 ounces of chicken looks like. And that's just one example, obviously, but just kind of get in tune with learning what those portion sizes look like. Don't just weigh it and eat it. Like, pay attention to what you're doing. That way you don't have to use the scale forever. The second mistake I see so often with new macro clients is they're tracking their food, they're weighing their food, awesome, but when they're tracking their food, they're not choosing the right measurement to track. And usually these people are using things like cups, tablespoons, measurements like that, where it's kind of hard to be accurate with. So we highly recommend weighing out your food in either grams or ounces. Those are going to be the most two accurate methods. Those two measurements are what's going to be listed on most food packaging. If you look, it may say 1 cup of X amount, and then in parentheses, it will usually say the grams. So that's going to be your most accurate, best bet method to track your food. Like I said before, sorry, Cal snoring. Tracking cups and tablespoons, you can really overestimate those things. And one way to kind of test yourself with that is take what you think is a tablespoon of peanut butter and then actually weigh out what a true tablespoon of peanut butter is. I think it's like 16 grams for most of them. You will be really surprised with the difference in size of what that looks like, and just think about how many calories that's adding up over the course of your day if you're tracking everything in cups or tablespoons. The last mistake that I see all the time is probably the biggest one, and that's tracking your food after you eat it or at the end of the day. And I know it probably makes sense to you to just track after, because you're gonna eat what you wanna eat anyway. But when it comes down to being more consistent with hitting your macros and taking the stress out of it, I highly recommend that you track either the night before or that morning, and try to plan out most of your day ahead of time. So when you're doing it ahead of time, it takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and you can kind of see what you need to shift around to come close to hitting those numbers. After you eat something, you already ate it. You can't really change anything. So you're kind of stuck, and that's why people get so thrown off with their macros. So I highly recommend taking the time, 5 to 10 minutes. Everybody has that in the morning. If not, you can wake up earlier. Figure out, okay, this is what I usually like for breakfast. Do the same thing for lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever you need to add in. And then just play around with the serving sizes if you're not coming close to those numbers. Tracking your macros really is like a puzzle, and you just have to figure out which amount of protein, carbs, and fats it takes to hit your numbers by the end of the day. So when you break it down like that, it really makes it a lot less stressful. You're not constantly worrying about, oh, what do I need to eat next? Or you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my God, I have 200 grams of carbs left to eat today. That never happens when you track beforehand. So that is probably my biggest piece of advice for you guys who are new to tracking, or even if you're not, I still track ahead of time because it just, like I said, makes my life so much easier. Those are the 3 mistakes that I see made all of the time. If you're making one of those, I hope this video helps you understand why that's happening and why you're making it more stressful than it needs to be. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next quick little video. Bye!